So you all have heard of Doom, the grandfather of FPS games, but even Doom had a father of its own, and that's Wolfenstein 3D. This technically isn't the first FPS game, but it's a game that truly got the ball rolling for the genre. It was made with a texture map engine, which id Software made after John Carmack saw Ultima Underworld, made by Blue Sky Productions, with its texture mapped engine, and thought, hey, I can do that, and then he did, and made Catacombs 3D, which had a very primitive engine with 16 colors, which wasn't really that good for the time, so John Carmack made a better engine, and then John Romero suggested they make a sequel to a game called Castle Wolfenstein, and in May of 1992, the 3-episode adventure Wolfenstein 3D was born. Now, if you play Wolfenstein 3D today, you may think that I just don't know how to count, because there's obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 episodes. Well, after the game was released, Scott Miller convinced id Software to make an expansion to the game after learning that it only took a day to make a level. And after that, 30 more levels were released to the public. I'm also not playing on the original DOS version of the game for this video. I'm instead playing on a source port called EC Wolf, which allows you to play with modern controls and have the game not look like something made on the Super Nintendo. Anyway, let's get started with this hit scan hell. The story so far, you are BJ Blazkowicz, the Allies' bad boy of espionage and terminal action seeker. That's seriously how the manual describes him. You're trying to get some secret plans from the Nazis, but you get captured. You trick a guard to get into your cell, kill him, and now you start your escape. If you've played Doom 2, you know this first level. It's simple. Get the machine gun from this secret, run through killing Nazis, and don't take this exit. You'll find a secret exit inside of a secret in the first level. The secret level introduces you to the SS guard, who has 100 health and a machine gun. It also introduces you to the keys, and gives you a lot of treasure. Oh yeah, this game is a live system. Collect treasure to get points. Every 40,000 points gives you an extra life. So do extra lives do, and they max out at 9. You can save your game, but I go without it for most of the game. Anyway, on to map 2. You get the chain gun in this secret, and now it's a good time to talk about the weapons. Pistol is useless once you get the machine gun, but the machine gun is still useful when you get the chain gun, because the chain gun eats your ammo fast, and all guns use the same ammo. So for most of the game I use the machine gun, and only use the knife when you run out of ammo. Here's some dogs for you to kill in the last room. If you're a dog person, don't worry, they're Nazis. Map 3 is when all the maps just mush together, and I think that's a result of not being able to move on the y-axis, and also having all corners be 90 degrees. I've never played this game before, so I don't really have a love for it like I do for Doom and Halo. Anyway, got through the level. Map 4 really shows my inexperience with the game. I'm running and gunning and just trying to play it like it's Doom. You'll learn quickly that you're gonna have to alert the enemies and try to bottleneck them. The combat loop is fine in the first episodes, but I'll talk about my gripes with it later. I have a lot of respect for the people who played this game back then, having to play with very clunky controls most DOS games had at the time, and also not being able to use an auto map. I'm telling you, if it weren't for that auto map, I would be stuck in this level for hours going through the same rooms over and over again, and same for many other levels. Another good thing to know is that when a door is 1 pixel open, the game considers it wide open and bullets can go through it no matter what, whether yours or the enemy's. Don't underestimate these lower guards. They can kill you with just a couple shots, and getting stuck around one is crippling. This part with all the guards behind the pillar was an idea that Tom Hall had right as he was going to sleep. I can't tell if that's a bad thing or not. Anyway, let's fight Hans Gross. Every boss level will have a secret with stash of health and ammo. Shoot him with a chain gun. He telegraphs his attacks, so just go behind cover when he's about to fire. He drops gold key when he dies. Grab it and escape the castle. You run out of the castle and hook up with the underground. They inform you that the rumors are true. Some hideous human experiments were seen around Castle Hollowhammer, so Operation Eisenfoss is real. Oh boy, we're doing this. Fun fact, before id got the rights to the name Wolfenstein, Tom Hall came up with many other names in place of it. For example, Hasselhoff, Verlassen, Sturmwind, Hollowhammer, Schadenssender, Gerschlecht, Dolphin Eisenschwartz, and so on. These are so hard to say. One of those names you might know is the location of the second episode in this game, which we're going to get into right now. Grab this machine gun in the first room, you're gonna need it. Open this door and... These are the mutants. They have 55 HP on this difficulty and shoot very fast. And you know how when you alert an enemy, they start yelling random stuff? Yeah, the mutants don't do that. They just shoot you the moment they see you. And they're the only enemies in this level. Get the chain gun and leave. I'm not doing all the secret levels since I don't know where they are and really don't want to do them. And that's including this one. Don't worry, I'll have the secret levels in the Doom video when I get to that. I don't like this episode, and I'm not dealing with the live system when there are mutants everywhere. Luckily, map 2 is made mostly of normal enemies. Map 3 is normal, if you don't mind all the mutants, and then... Wait, what is that? Yeah, now you have to keep track of 2 keys, which wouldn't be a problem if they marked what key you needed for the locked doors. In some doors, you need both keys to open, which again, wouldn't be a problem if they were marked. All this confusion just makes Keys a guessing game beyond this point. Map 4 starts bad. The whole level is described as false doors and death traps, and when paired with the mutants and exclusively hit-scan combat, it gets a bit frustrating. Map 5 is shaped like a swastika because they're Nazis and they do that for some reason. At least it's easily traversable, with its different parts having different texture, and this central room to reorient yourself. Map 6 is filled with this purple texture. You don't see it that often, unless you're playing the first secret level in this. The whole level is basically just a large maze. Not that fun. Map 7 is really short unless you want to get the secrets. I beat it in 38 seconds, without even trying to go fast. Map 8 has the Call Apogee Say Aardwolf maze. The way you do it is, you really think I'm going through all that? Nah, take me to Dr. Shabs. In the boss level, you fight Dr. Shabs. He's mean, obscene, and wants you green. He also has a projectile attack, which is such relief when I've been having to deal with nothing but hit scan for over 2 hours. Also, if he kills you, BJ's face gets turned into a mutant one. This is the first enemy that ends the level when you kill him, and it's pretty cool, in my opinion. Alright, the mutants are done. Now all that's left is to kill Hitler. Episode 3 introduces a new enemy type, the Officer, and they're basically just guards that are faster and has double the health. A cool thing about this level is the music, which has Morse code, and it says, "To Big Bad Wolf, from Little Red Riding Hood, eliminate Hitler, imperative, complete mission within 24 hours, out." And I think it's a very cool thing to put in a soundtrack in a game where you do kill Hitler. Episode 3 doesn't have many levels that stick out. Nothing interesting happens until floor 7, which isn't inherently a bad thing. These other levels are good, just not that memorable. If you go through a bunch of secrets in map 7, you'll find this long maze that I spent way too long in, but it's worth it. Because in this maze, there's a secret exit that takes you to... Oh my god, it's Pac-Man! I think this is how Billy Mitchell plays Pac-Man without cheating. Well, I said something bad about Billy Mitchell. I'm now going to be awaiting my lawsuit. Map 8 is another one of those maps that are shaped like a swastika. Tom Hall wanted to make this map hard, and I'd say that he did a good job at that. A good gauntlet before you get the joy of killing Hitler. Let's do the... What is that? They are fake Hitlers and are not magic in any way, but in fact dummies on strings with flamethrowers mounted to their chests. Well, it's now time to fight Mecha Hitler. Shoot him until his mech breaks. After that, he's just Hans Gross. I know it may be a little hard to see due to the giant pillar in the way, but just witnessing Hitler die like that is exhilarating. This may be the end of BJ's big World War II story, but there's still a long way to go for the player. 3 more episodes await. The Nocturnal missions. These missions are a prequel where BJ is fighting to stop the Nazis' chemical warfare plans, being led by General Fettgesist. And all of that starts with episode 4. Let's get into this. Map 1, and what is that? Well, that's quite the texture. This first room actually really shows off the lighting effects of the engine, and just kidding. These are actually just separate textures on different sides of the wall. One is just darker than the other. The Nocturnal missions are generally known as being pretty bad, and I can agree with that for most of the levels. Map 3 is where the Nazi bloodbaths really start happening. Waves and waves of Nazis just start falling on the ground at a time. Map 5 really pisses me off, and for this one, we're going to have to take a look at the manual, which says, and I quote, "Necessary items aren't hidden. The Nazis may be rude hosts, but they would never hide anything necessary for escaping. Keys and elevators can be reached through normal passages." You sure about that, Kevin Cloud? Because The gold key can only be reached through 2 secret push walls, and map 7 is the same, but even worse. Since yes, there's a key behind multiple different push walls, but if you thought it couldn't get any worse, you can block yourself off using the push walls wrong. I did, and I had 2 options: either restart the entire episode or pray that a guard opens the locked door. I get lucky and someone did open it and I got through the level normally, but if that didn't happen, this video might not be here. The boss is Auto Giftmacher, and guess what? He has a projectile firing rocket launcher, which again is a relief because I've been having to deal with hit scan for another 2 hours. Well, that was easy. And now we're off to kill Hans Gross, but woman. Episode 5 is the shortest of the bunch in my opinion. It only took me 37 minutes to beat. This room in map 1 can kill you easily if you're not careful, and the hint book literally makes fun of you for struggling on this room. The low variety of enemies I feel becomes a problem in the nocturnal missions. Each episode, there's a max of 3 different enemies in each episode, which just makes these levels feel repetitive, and it feels like there's no incentive to play these levels unless you really want to finish everything in the game. Map 3, John Romero says that this part behind the entrance rewards you with death. Yeah, no, this large room with a bunch of enemies is more dangerous. Map 4 is one of those maps that's just a box with a symmetrical layout. It feels like something a 4th grader would make right after they learned how to use a level editor, and not something made by a professional team of people. This part on map 5 with all the Nazis has way too many hallways they can get you from. One moment you're shooting Nazis in a large room, the next you're being ambushed from the only 4 directions this game has. Map 8 is one of those levels that has the exit at the start. Whatever, on to Gretel Gross. She's literally just Hans Gross but a woman. They just copy and pasted everything from him. She even drops a gold cube when she dies, which I definitely did not forget, and I definitely did not waste all my ammo right after I killed her. Okay, so I thought nothing could be worse than episode 2 because of the mutants, but somehow, someway, episode 6 is less fun because of its level design alone. Map 1 introduces you to one of its worst tricks, and it happens on multiple occasions. Why people thought this was a good idea, I have no clue. Map 2 is designed by Is musician Bobby Prince, and I'm gonna be honest, it's not that good. Mainly because half the level is just a Russian nesting doll of rectangles. Map 3 is made up of 7 swastikas, which just makes it hard to navigate. If I didn't have an auto map, I would be stuck here for hours. Map 5 does that thing where you walk in front of a bunch of hallways and alert enemies that are in the hallways. It doesn't get better the longer that it goes. Just let the pain stop. Hey, remember those 2 levels in episode 4 with the keys behind the secret push walls? Yeah, map 7 does that too, and it has this worthless elongated maze to the exit, and it's just not fun. Mainly because there's no point in exploring the maze. You just find the exit. Map 8 feels pointless. It's just going through small rooms with a bunch of enemies that may or may not be hidden in some random corner for no reason other than to kill you in 2 shots without you seeing him. Okay, I'm done now. Time for the most underwhelming final boss. You fight General Fetisist, who has a rocket launcher, which I already talked about in episode 4 and why it's not that effective, and a chain gun, which means he's the only enemy to have multiple weapons. But I just think having a Hans Gross clone would be more challenging. And after you kill him, you did it! You have finished the 6th Wolfenstein episode. You are truly one of the great heroes. The world cheers your name. You get your picture taken with the president. People name their babies after you. You marry a movie star. Yes, you are so cool. Hell yeah, I am. The end. So, what do I think? I'm sure that Wolfenstein was amazing for the time, but now that I have other games to compare it to, like Doom and Quake, it's kind of just a letdown. I've heard so much about how innovative and amazing it is, and I thought that it would be as fun as Doom, but I learned quickly that it's a completely different experience. And while the 1st and 3rd episode were what I thought they would be, everything else just feels like a slog to go through, and I really don't think it's something that I would play after I beat it for the first time, even though I could try it an extra challenge by playing it on I Am Death Incarnate difficulty. But the gameplay on Bring It On difficulty was painful enough. I think it would be more fun if there were more enemies that use projectile attacks. And I'm not a really big fan of the level design, but I can just blame that on the engine being a bit primitive. Would I recommend someone play it? It depends. If you're just looking for a good time, I would just send you to Doom. But if you want to know where the FPS genre came from and to see how games have evolved over time, then I would say start here. Wolfenstein was necessary for the gaming industry, and while I may not have the best opinions on it, I understand that if it didn't exist, we wouldn't have anything close to what we have today.